In today's episode of Watching the Watchers, we're talking about an Arizona prosecutor who got a nice promotion, somebody with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office who we are likely to be seeing a whole lot more of. Watching the Watchers is a segment that we do where we talk about prosecutors, police, law enforcement agencies, judges, politicians, anybody who's involved in the criminal justice system. We bring the news to you. We talk about what they're doing so that you are kept up to speed. Today, we're talking about a prosecutor who you may have heard on the national stage. Her name is Rachel Mitchell. She was the prosecutor that the Republicans brought in during the questioning around the Kavanaugh hearings. So if you remember, Judge Kavanaugh was somebody who was being vetted by the Senate in order to become a justice on the Arizona Supreme Court. He faced a number of accusations from Dr. Blasey Ford, who was indicating that he had basically sexually assaulted her 20, 30 years ago. It was a long time ago. So what the Republicans did is they brought in a prosecutor, somebody who was a female, to actually question Dr. Ford, and that was Rachel Mitchell. Remember her? This is what she looked like. That's actually a file photo from the questioning. And they brought her in, and she did what she does. She was somebody who prosecuted sex crimes, and so she went through a series of questioning with Dr. Ford, asking her about a lot of the things surrounding the allegations. It turned out to not really be a great sort of format for Prosecutor Rachel Mitchell. It turned out where, I don't know if she got the memo on to how this thing would be structured, but really what ended up happening is she only had a certain period of time to conduct her questioning. So she would get, I think it was 5 minutes. So she would get 5 minutes, then the Democrats would get 5 minutes. And then she'd get 5 minutes again, and the Democrats would get 5 minutes again. So I don't think it had much to do with her abilities or her efficacy as a prosecutor. I think it had to do with the format, which is why it didn't really work out all that well in favor of the Republicans. What ended up happening is she would get kind of involved in a series of questioning and then would be interrupted, and another 5 minutes would go over to the other side. So there was really no flow, and it was really hard for her to make her point and really kind of challenge what the Democrats were claiming happened and what Dr. Ford was claiming happened. Now, that being said, at the end of the case, she came out of it and said that she didn't think that there was any way to substantiate anything that was being alleged against Judge Kavanaugh. Now, regardless of your political disposition, whether you think Judge Kavanaugh is a good thing for the bench or a bad thing for the bench, or whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, I from my perspective as a defense lawyer, as somebody who would be defending somebody against a sexual assault allegation, the evidence there was just very weak. It was very old. It was from 20 to 30 years ago. There was very little corroboration. There were no other witnesses. There was something seemed to be politically motivated and not so much kind of really tied to the facts of what happened 20, 30 years ago. So it was a difficult case, I think, for the Democrats, for Dr. Ford, for that side of this argument to make. And Miss Mitchell actually kind of came out and came to the same conclusion. A lot of the time as defense attorneys, you think that prosecutors are always going to go and do whatever they can to skewer the defendant. They sort of presume that the defendant is guilty rather than kind of upholding what our constitutional standard is, where you're innocent unless proven guilty or until proven guilty or unless you agree to be guilty or you're found guilty by a jury. Prosecutors tend to just think, well, they're charged, so they did it. Well, we didn't see that out of the Miss Mitchell's sort of questioning of Dr. Ford. She came away skeptical, which is good. It shows us that there's kind of a healthy footing in reality when it comes to Miss Mitchell. Again, as I said, politics aside, looking at this from through the lens of a defense lawyer, we think that her conclusion was right. It was what should have been found, and she came out with the proper conclusion. Now, she got promoted, so she is taking a position as the chief deputy of Maricopa County Attorney's Office. This is the top staff position for the county attorney, who is Bill Montgomery. So Bill Montgomery at this time is sort of primed to be taking the seat of justice with the Arizona Supreme Court. I made another video about why I don't think that's a good decision, but that is currently kind of what the consensus is, that the commission on actually appointing the next judge was moved around a little bit, and he actually got approved. So he's on the short list. The short list is with the governor right now, Governor Ducey, who can then appoint the next justice to the Arizona Supreme Court. So it seems like some pieces are being moved around a little bit. Miss Mitchell is now the chief deputy of MCAO, next in line to get the position if Mr. Montgomery is actually appointed to the Supreme Court. She's probably going to be somebody who slots into place, which is going to be a big change. Mr. Montgomery's been in this position for a long time, for many years now, and so she'll take his spot, at least in the interim, pending some approvals and things. But what will happen will be then, at the next election, it will be an open seat to somebody can run new for county attorney, and she will be sort of the person in the position to be primed to inherit that title. So that is a big change for Maricopa County. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Mr. Montgomery does get the Supreme Court nomination. We'll see if Miss Mitchell actually acts as interim county attorney until the next election. Big changes. We want to make sure that you're aware of that if your case is pending. If you're looking at a felony case that has a long timeline, a year or 2 years, based on the charges, you may see some changes at MCAO. You may see some changes at the top, which will then trickle down and affect your case. So stay apprised of that. Stay up to speed. Hit subscribe. We will update you so that you know what's coming when it comes, and when we know about it, we'll make sure to send it out your way. We want to make sure that you're up to speed on all of these things because it can impact anybody's criminal case, and it's interesting news just altogether. So hit subscribe. Look forward to bringing you the next one. Thanks for watching.